Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages in the YouTube sphere, how are you? This is Cinta Sounds. My name is Blair Cinta, and today what I'm getting is 5 hip-hop or programmed snare sounds out of acoustic instruments. This is something I find really cool and useful if you're doing a gig where you have to learn things with programmed drums and you want to simulate those sounds a bit on the gig. It can make all the difference, you know, in my opinion, make all the difference to the song and how it's presented to the audience. They don't need to know what's going on, obviously. Your bandmates don't even need to know what's going on. But if you're presenting the song in a more authentic fashion to, you know, maybe how people hear it on the radio, or maybe you're in a studio setting where you're just trying to create something new, something fresh, and you know, you want to be the drummer on a track as opposed to somebody programming something. You know, get creative. In this video, I use some different things like this dreadlock here and a couple different splash cymbals and noisemakers. You know, I have my particular arsenal of things, but you know, you can go and find your own. A lot of times I find really super cheap stuff. Go to your hardware store, go to a scrap metal store, you know, just find stuff that may work. Start layering things and check it out. Okay, so for this sound, everyone kind of knows, this is seems kind of standard these days. If we take 2 sticks and we kind of play a flam, that's a very cool sound, incredibly useful. I do it all the time. But what I'm trying to expand on here is often when we listen to a programmed or sampled sound in a beat, we hear 2 different sounds because they're layered. So what I've done is I've taken this dreadlock stick. I actually taped it up because I was getting some residual sound from the stick, so I just taped this up so it's a little more tough. And I'm getting a head sound with this. It's a little more defined than a brush, although that's cool too. But it's a little more defined. So my right hand is playing first. So I guess it would be a left flam. You could do it the other way. For me, it's a little more comfortable. So the other benefit of using a different type of sound in this hand is when you go to the hi-hat, you're actually getting a lighter sound here on the hi-hat as opposed to with a stick. So that's going to blend in with the kit differently. The emphasis, even when you hit this, it's not going to create as much sound. The emphasis is aurally more on the kick and snare. So you're balancing with kick and snare, and that's just a little more tucked in your internal mix of just what you're playing. A lot of this information I'm talking about is very viable for recording and live work. You know, sometimes if you're playing in a large place, this may not translate as much as using sticks, and that's fine. But in my experience, playing in, you know, medium-sized clubs, small clubs, things like this can be super effective, and it also helps create a vibe in the band. My personal feeling. So here's the sound. There they are separately. Together. Okay, in this example, I've taken the snare and I've turned it upside down. This is that kind of classic, really thin, tinny 808 type snare sound. I'm also taking a little thin towel here and putting over the top, and I'll show you why. And I'm also still using this brush. As you can hear, when we don't have the towel, we get this sound. So we're getting some ring from the bottom head. This towel eliminates that. Still sounds super bright and cool. That's partly because of this brush, partly because we're hitting the snares, but we're dampening the head, so we're not getting that kind of nasty ring that's happening. You can also try it with a stick. Word of caution that you'll go through this head very easily. If you decide to do this on a gig, I would maybe take a separate drum so you could do this, but playing with the stick is pretty, you're playing with fire. So, plus it doesn't quite sound as cool. You're getting a little more fullness from the drum, and that's not really the sound that you're going for. You're going for something thin. And again there, with the stick, you're kind of getting some ring in the head. So, for my 2 cents, I say, stick with that sound. Pretty cool sound. Also for this sound, I've opened up the bass drum to kind of get that kind of lengthy 808 kick drum sound. Okay, this next example, again, taking the concept of layering sounds. So I'm still using a cross stick here, like this, but what I have is this Greg Keplinger made kind of funky jingle thing. So this could be anything though. This could be any sound source. Something that's metallic, something that has grains on it, some kind of shaker. It's really about trying to layer the sound, because often with something programmed, you maybe it's a hip-hop track or something, you get an initial attack, that's one sound, but then you hear something else in there that is giving it a unique sound. So that's the idea behind this. That's the concept behind this. Like I said, it could be any other sound there. In the beat also, we're adding a hi-hat in. So this is a third sound that's going with your backbeat. The 2 and the 4s. You hit it together on 2, and then 4, then you're getting a different sound. So that's the concept behind this. Layer your sounds. Okay, so for this sound, I haven't changed anything. It's exactly the same. But the idea here is to hit the snare off center. When we hit it in the center, it's kind of a typical snare sound with, that's even with a rim shot, with just something on top of it. So if we hit it off center though, we're not getting the air pocket that we get in the center of the head. So it's a bit more funky. Funky as in odd, not funky as in funky. Yet another sound. Explore the space of your drum. We could even go as far as loosening the snare. but you know. All right, for this example, I found two different splash cymbals here, two different sizes, and I've set them on top of this drum. And you know, the reason for all the tape is just basically to hold them into place. So if you accidentally hit them, they don't go flying. But the idea here is to really actually hit the edge on the side here. So you're getting the residual effect from these cymbals here, and you're getting this kind of weird, high-end, really direct, piercing sound from this. Sounds pretty cool. It's a little difficult to play something like this, but you know, as the saying goes, you got to suffer for your art sometimes. So, it just takes a little practice, you know. Maybe open-handed or just like this. You find that spot where you fit in, and it'll make sense. But to me, this is a really cool sound. It might be great as like a side snare. It stays on your left, and it's a little more of a permanent thing. And then you have a main snare here, if you were in a live situation, maybe. But obviously, in a studio setting, this is a pretty cool sound. All right, let's check it out. Alright, thanks for checking out Synta Sounds. Please subscribe if you like what you see. Please share this with friends if you have drummer friends or producer friends or engineer friends that may dig this. Please share that with them. As always, I am available for tracks here in Los Angeles. I also give lessons here, and I give lessons on Skype. Please hit me up if you have any questions. Make comments, ask away, and explore, create. You got a whole lot of instruments in this thing we call the drum kit. You can get amazing sounds. So dive in, check it out. All right, thanks for checking it out. Bye.